Welcome to day 6. I'm so glad you're here. This is Iona at Ren House Studio, and this is our 8 steps to jumpstart our creative process, our creative life, our electrical ignition in our own precious human life. It's so excellent to get to day 6. Day 6 in the creative process, as we're jumpstarting our creative energy, has everything to do with resistance and the ways that we get stuck and how we want to be able to move past our own self-sabotage. Oh my gosh, aren't we amazing how we will stop ourselves and stop ourselves and stop ourselves. It's human nature. So we don't feel like we have to be fixed. We feel like, oh, I need a little bit more awareness of how I do that and why I do that. So I did a little diagram for day 6, and it shows that we are now moving into the being half of our 8 steps. We've basically looked over some of the ways in which we can do, and that is by we engage a vision. We use the example of, oh, it's time to get a new car. So I dream about the kind of car I'd like to have. And then dream and dream and dream and dream, never do anything. But if I dream and then I actually choose the kind of car I'd like to have, and I go to the dealership and I get the little pamphlet that shows the car, and I bring the pamphlet home and I set the pamphlet on the table or tape it, put a magnet on it on the refrigerator, then I have a vision. It has legs, and I can close my eyes and I can see myself driving that new vehicle, using a vehicle because it's such an easy example to use. Do the research, get on, the internet, look at the car that I'm dreaming about and have the picture of on the refrigerator. Now I do the research on this car and I find out what its good points are and what its failings are. And I decide to act. I either buy that make and model or I choose a different one. And with that action that I take, I now drive those new set of wheels into my yard, and I have moved from where I was to a new place. And every time I get in that car, I feel that connection. Oh man, this is really cool. I let myself do this, and that's the evolutionary aspect of it. Today, in day 6, we reflect. And as we're driving the car around, we start noticing the problems with the car. We start thinking about its shortfalls. Why did I buy this car? This isn't right. That's not right. We still might love the car. We still might be really grateful for it. It might still be the dream car, but there's obviously going to be some issues because that's life. So today in our creative process, we want to look at how do we reflect and just kind of take note. How's the dream unfolded to get to the point where it is now in a position where we can look at it and see it for what it really is. So reflecting. And reflecting gives us the connection to mirroring. And so we can think about how oftentimes we'll clump ourselves into, they think like I think, so they mirror what I believe, and we mirror it back and forth to one another. Every once in a while, we'll be in our creative process. We'll have an idea, a vision, a dream, and we do our research and we find there's nobody else doing this, or I don't know who would care about what I want to do, or we find different ways to stop ourselves from moving forward and don't really engage in the research to gain true information and true insight into what we are dreaming to create. We stop ourselves. We don't take the action. If we don't take the action, we never evolve. So in step 6, we're looking at all the ways in which we could be putting ourselves into a stop mode and not even realizing that we're doing it. So we've got a list of 12 different ways in which we might actually put the brakes on before we need to. And we want to think about each of those 12 points of resistance as ways of disconnecting our capacity to jumpstart our creative energy. And this is not wrong. This is human nature. It's just something that we do. And in step 6, we want to look at it because it's like looking at our shadow. It's looking at the ways in which patterns stop us. You know, over the years that I've been offering these intimate little rooms of connecting with our circadian creative rhythms, I've heard from individuals who find it difficult to apply this aspect of our tracking these 8 steps, or that aspect of tracking the 8 steps. And it's okay to find ourselves up against our edge. It's actually a really dynamic part of the creative process. Step 6, in reflecting on what's happened since we began with step 1, gives us an opportunity to press the pause button and just review. And if something comes up as a pattern of resistance, we can then attend to it. Maybe there's something that we can repair. You know, the old car might be able to be repaired even while we have the picture of the new car on the refrigerator as the dream vision. We might realize, yeah, this car is still running just fine and the mileage isn't that terrible. And I know when I took my car into my mechanic a year ago, needed some kind of major work, and he said, Miss Iona, he said, don't worry about it. We'll do this work. And this car is still going to have like 100 plus thousand miles, still good to go. You don't have to think about getting rid of the car just yet. But at the same time, I've got a dream and I've got a vision of what my next vehicle can very well be. So in the creative process, we can have the long view. It's someplace that we are really wanting to get to. But with the 8 steps, we realize that sometimes we stop ourselves. And that's where we go in step 6. How do I stop myself? How do I see myself as not worthy? How do I decide that I'm not ready? How do I keep telling myself that I just need to do one more thing, just one more thing before I feel ready to expand my vision out into the world? So these 12 steps are something that you might want to remember. You're going to download the video so you'll have it. You can come back to it again and again, but you want to go through these 12 steps of resistance and check in with yourself from time to time. So the first step of the 12 signs that you're in resistance is that you're too busy and you just don't have the time to jumpstart your creativity right now or to attend to your project. The second step is that you procrastinate and you just keep telling yourself that you'll do it tomorrow. You'll start tomorrow. You'll talk to them tomorrow. You'll formulate the idea tomorrow. You'll do the research tomorrow. You might find yourself in step 3 of the 12 signs of resistance that you're scared into inaction. And it's like, what if, what if, what if? Yeah, you know, what if, what if, what if? We get rejected, we fall down, we hit the floor, we get back up, we pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off, and we start all over again. Step 4 is we defer our decisions and we just keep saying that somebody else can make this happen. We don't have to make it happen. That's a sign of resistance. You decide. What do you think? What would you do? Those are signs of resistance. It's certainly fine to, get somebody else's opinion and someone else's idea, but we should never let it stop us. It really is important to have faith and trust in self. That's the center of our circle. Day 6, we've put the little word home. We live here at home, and we go into the dream wedge, and we go into the vision wedge, and we visit the research wedge, and we visit the action wedge, and so on and so forth. And of course, here on day 6, we're moving up into this side of the circle, which is the being side. So step 5 in our resistance is we lose interest. This just really wasn't what I thought it would be. It's not my thing. It's boring me. And we just run out of gas. Step 6 is we become forgetful and like the absent-minded professor. Oh, I meant to do that. Oh, I forgot to do that. It's really useful to have a system in place so that we don't forget. Have a paper calendar, a day book, a task list, some way that you are accountable to yourself as you're jump starting your creativity and your creative process over this 6-week period, in which you're really putting your focus on the dream vision being actualized. Step 7 in the 12 signs of resistance is that you're disorganized to the point where you just don't know where anything is or how to find what you need at the moment that you need it, which is, there's just tons and tons of information out there about how to declutter and how to set up a system. I love how I read about I love Twyla Tharp's book on the creative process, which I've had on my Kindle for years. And it's really wonderful to return to read about how other people set up systems that support their creative process. And she uses bankers boxes, and every choreographed dance program that she's ever created has its own banker's box with all the support materials from her beginning notes on her first vision for the choreographed program, all the way through to the videos of the stage performances of her dances. So it's really, really exciting also when we're reflecting and finding our points of resistance to see if we can do a little research and find somebody who has a solution to this resistance issue. So being disorganized, there's tons of stuff out there in the world to help us get a grip on our disorganization. The 9th step in our 12 steps of resistance is feeling paralyzed. I just can't think of where I'm going. I just don't know what to do, which really circles back around beautifully to what this 8-day challenge is all about. It's about jumpstarting our creativity because, yes, sometimes we get stuck in the mud. Sometimes we get stuck on the ice and we just spin our wheels. So knowing that sometimes we might feel paralyzed is useful. We're not trying to say anything is broken to the point where it can't be addressed. We're looking at our points of resistance so that we can look for research, actions to take that will jumpstart our ability to evolve past the particular resistance pattern that we might be demonstrating. We find reasons not to act in resistance, step number 10, and that's endless. I can't because, I can't because, and I can't because. I learned this when I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I've told the story before because it's a great little visual image. When I was a child, my mom was asking me if I would do something, and I said, I can't. And I guess I said the word I can't enough that she said, go get a piece of paper and a pencil. And when I brought it back, she said, I want you to write this down on the paper, CAN''T, can't. And then she said, hand me the paper. And she took the paper and she did this right in front of my eyes, and she dropped this and she said, what's left? And I looked at her and I said, can. And she goes, never forget that. Cut the T off can't. And another good one on that regard, working with the beauty of words, is we're often finding ourselves in pain. And I always say to myself, just put a T on it. So I took the T off of can't and I put it on pain. and I go and I paint. I move some color. I move some paint around. There's endless ways we can play with words that way, but let's get on with our 12 signs that you're in resistance. Number 11 is that you're impatient, and this is taking way too long. Ain't it the truth? We just keep telling ourselves it should have happened yesterday and it ought to happen this afternoon. But there's a universal energy that lifts us up and carries us. And if we have a dream, and if we allow it to become a vision, which is a very empowering segue from dream into vision, pick up Shakti Gawaine's book on creative visualization. It was one of the very first, and it's a classic in really learning what it means to visualize, to bring something into our third eye, into our intuitive awareness, so that it can actually manifest in our life. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to recognize when we've run out of patience and it's taking too long. Lastly, step 12 in our 12 signs that you're in resistance is that you keep running into people who tell you that whatever your dream vision is, don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy. Don't waste your money. Where's it going to go? It's not. So many people have written a book. So many people have wanted to paint. So many people have dreamed that their poetry would be published. So many people want to write the best-selling novel. Why would you waste your time thinking that this would ever, ever manifest for you? That's our 12th sign that we're in resistance, that we're being bombarded by noise, naysayers. It's just resistance. Isn't it great to recognize that these 12 signs of resistance, they happen to all of us. And some of us might have much more impatience than we have procrastination, but one or the other is still going to put a big old stop in our engine. We're not going to be, it's like muck, you got to have a way to identify. And so in step 6, today we reflect. We reflect on our dream and bring it back into awareness of our vision so that we can move around the circle sequentially first, just sequentially first, so that we get in the rhythm of the 8 steps. This is Iona at Wren House Studio. This is day 6 in the 8-day free challenge that is comprised of the 8 steps to jumpstart your creativity. I'm so glad you're here. Remember, you can save all of these videos to your computer. Just download them to your computer, put them in a file on your desktop. And then remember that if you can relate to these 8 steps for 6 weeks, ooh la la. And then from there, the opportunity to go even deeper into your dream and even deeper into your vision and continue on around the circle becomes more and more evolutionary in your own life experience. I'll see you tomorrow for step 7. And in step 7, we take our dream vision, and now we consider the ways in which we can share what we've learned about the process in our own experience, not comparing it to anyone else's. I'll see you tomorrow, and I'm so glad that you are here.